where the mountains meet the crew. Ear to ear, we are C-Ray and Lady too. Dropping gems from Morgantown to the ends. Insight, hot dance, stacking knowledge trends. Ear to ear, come kick you with the best. C-Ray, Lady Mo.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the latest installment of Ear to Ear Podcast with C-Ray and Lanny Mo. This is C-Ray. This guy over here is Lanny Mo. Lanny Mo, how you doing this evening, buddy?
Living. What's up?
Yeah, man. It's another day in paradise on the mountain down here in Charleston. It is a cold day on the mountain, man. I know we were talking about weather a little bit ago at my house where I live. I've been pounded with snow for the last 2 weeks, and it's going to be, below zero this week. And if it snows anymore, I don't know where I'm going to push all the snow to. I'm running out. Like, my driveway is going to start getting smaller because I just can't push it anywhere else. I guess we have to invest in bigger equipment. So I'm going to tell my wife. That's the reason we'll give her anyway when I go buy a giant ass tractor. I need it for snow removal.
Mm-hmm.
But man, good weekend to be a mountaineer. Men and women's basketball. I mean, the women are rolling, man. The men, a little bit of up and down, but God, overall, dude, this year's just been more than I think anybody out there in Mountaineer Nation has expected.
No one predicted this. No one would say that they're dancing at 13-4, and no one would have said that.
Oh God, no.
People would be, at 500 now would have been like, this is what we expected.
Yeah, and that was, it's like I've said 100 times. I had no expectations except 500 I think is a good year for his first year. Shoot, I'm starting to develop some expectations. I don't want to admit it, but I'm starting to develop some. Coming off last night, win versus Iowa State, 64-57. Javon Small, dude, 27 points. 27.
He has to be in some type of, I know there's top 5 programs that they push these players, but Small has to be in the talks of Big 12 Player of the Year and National Player of the Year contention with some of the numbers. He's literally put this team on his back and has carried them.
Right.
I don't know what else you would expect. And then he's humble on top of it, just saying, the biggest thing with this team is they just want to win. That's what, they don't care who they get to 25. They need somebody to score 25 a game, pretty much.
It doesn't matter who it comes from.
But they don't care who it comes from either.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I think that's the good thing. Yeah. We've had different guys step up at different points in different games that have been the reason we went on a run, the reason we won a game, the reason we made a comeback, whatever it is. And I think that's one of the things I'm really loving is this team. It's a team mentality. Okay. It really is team. We don't care who scores. Let's score. Let's win games. And, there's a couple things that are killing us I wouldn't say killing us because we've only lost 4 games, but there's a couple things that have hindered us a little bit along the way. We don't really have a true big, Andre is about as close as we have and not having a true big, I think. And right now we're down a couple guys and being down a couple guys. We've seen a couple games like the Houston game, for instance. Let's talk about that for a second. The Houston game, to me, it's like we kept pushing and making a bit of a comeback, and then it would just kind of stall out because we'd get tired for a minute. Houston had depth. They were subbing guys in and out the whole game, right? Those guys did not get tired at all. I think if we have a full lineup, I think that game – I honestly think we could have won that game, but even if we didn't win, I think that game is much closer with a full lineup where we can sub guys as consistently or as often as Houston was. And that's, one of the games that we've seen that happen in. But the Iowa State game, one of the things that really gets me about this team is lost to Houston, top 10 team. It's a good loss, and it's going to continue to be a good loss because Houston's a good team.
Yeah.
But we bounced back and beat the number 2 team in the country 3 days later, 3 or 4 days later.
Yeah.
I think that is amazing to me. I'm sorry. I think that is a direct reflection of Darian Devries and his leadership on his team.
Well, I think that, he just has that we're going to get it out of somebody tonight, but the games that they lose, It's simple fact they don't make shots. You know, if
It kind of goes back to Beeline days where we kind of lived and died by the three sometimes.
a little bit,
Yeah.
but you know, I mean, man, if we had an offensive big, oh my goodness, it would help out. 6'10". I'm
Yeah.
not saying sags, you know, but you know, just you know, with Andre, he just keeps you. He can keep a team on. He's a big. I mean, believe me, he's 7 foot tall. You know.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's a space eater, and if you can get 10 out of him, you know, 3 blocks, you know, if he's pushing those double numbers, that really takes the pressure off of the other guys. You know, to knock down. And when you got Hansberry is literally playing just as good. He got, I don't know what kind of injury it was, but now he was shaking up the last couple games, and you can tell that he's almost back, and that's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge.
He popped a couple threes in a row last night or yesterday, and I was like, all right, look at him stroking, man, stroking.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. And I guess when I say, I don't want anybody out there to think I'm down on Andre, because I'm not. Because he's a block machine, or has been a block machine in the first part of the season. Like, it's not that he's not a good player. It's just he lacks some of the skill to legitimately post somebody up and beat them in the post. And that's what I mean when I say true big. It's somebody that can play the 5 in the post on the block. You know what I mean? Like a Tim Duncan, David Robinson type of guy. I'm biased to the Spurs because I'm a Spurs fan, so there's a two to come to mind. But nonetheless, it doesn't mean he's not being helpful on our team, because he most certainly is. I don't want anybody out there to scathe me, because Jeff Ruff will be like, well, he's a big. You know, I don't want Jeff Ruff to get mad at me. I see you out there, Jeff.
You know, Andre, you know, 6 feet away from the basket, you don't have to guard him.
Yeah,
he's not an offensive threat, is my thing. But he passes the ball well. He sees the double team coming. He kicks, and the biggest thing is when this team stays out of foul trouble, it's this. And this sounds like the most Homer comment you're going to hear. They can play with anybody. They can absolutely play with anybody. You know,
I mean, I think you take that in combination with having a full lineup, and I'm thinking we're probably closer to 15-2 right now, as opposed to 13-4. I mean, there's just been a couple times where, like, we had a couple extra guys, you know, and it is what it is. To my knowledge, I heard Tucker is taking a medical red shirt.
I know that they was leaning that way, which I'm
supposed
fine
to be running it back next year.
Yeah, and you know what? If he gets that, that's great, because that's another. You know, you just kind of survive this year, and what sucks. Can you imagine Small's back next year? And me and you just had the the discussion. You know, he's got 3, and I don't know how credit the McDonald's All-American is compared to what it used to be or whatever, but he's got 3 McDonald's All-Americans coming in as freshmen next year. And that's hard. That's hard. The game has changed as far as, you know, are you going to put 3 freshmen on the floor, you know?
But wait a minute. There's been other teams that get those McDonald's All-Americans and put those freshmen on the floor. Why can't we? Well,
that's the game is all these teams, even like the Dukes and the Blue Bloods, Kentucky's, and the teams that have been good forever. That's what they do. They build year to year, and that's what college basketball is. That's what college football is. You're going to see more year to year type of individuals, teams being built that way. You know, we got to win now. What holes do we plug to win now? And that's who we go get, you know?
Yeah.
So that's where, that's where DeVries going to, and I think he realizes that, and he's going to recruit to that. And if you can go get you 2, studs out of high school that can play immediately, and then you do your patchwork, which his patchwork has been chef kiss. And it's, but
dude, just build him a statue now. Just build him a statue now. I'll tell you something right now.
No statue. What they need to do is honestly lock his ass into the contract.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't know what it would take. They either need to lock him into as many years as he will sign for,
Yeah.
or make the buyout price so damn high that, like, if we're going to lose him, we're going to be able to afford to go get somebody as good. It's just blown what little expectations I had away. I just didn't ever think. I mean, 4-1. Okay, 4-1. First off, I want to talk about this real quick. There were some Iowa State fans on Twitter talking about the refs being a little unfair last night. Let me tell you something, okay? First off, Iowa State only had 3 more fouls than WVU. That's not going to be the difference in why they lost. I'm going to tell you why you guys lost the game, Iowa State, because y'all shot 5.9%. You know what? I'll even round up and give you 6. You shot 6% from three-point line. You ain't beating anybody shooting 6% from 3, okay? I don't care who you are. 6%. That's why y'all lost the game. But you know what I mean? Let's get that out of the way. But 4-1 against ranked teams, 3-1 against top 10 teams. Beat Kansas for the first time ever at Kansas. I mean, he beat Gonzaga for the first time. Granted, we had only played Gonzaga 5 times, but he's done some things that, I didn't think any coach would do this year that we hired. I didn't care who. They could have hired anybody out there, and there's not a coach out there that I would have thought would have accomplished what he has accomplished so far. So enough of that. Build the man statue, lock him in, put it out there. Let's go. I mean, that's just where I'm at. And you know what? The same can be said about Kellogg, what he's done with the women's program. You know, they had another big win last night, and they're rolling. I mean, both of our basketball teams right now, dude.
Yeah.
It's freaking huge. And some of this credit has to go to Ren Baker. He's the one that picked these guys out.
It absolutely has to. You know, I mean, he was the guy who went out there and hired, his hires are working. You know, that's
so far.
That's all there is to it. You know?
Yep. Maybe, now, sure, we'll say Rich Rod was his hire. Let's go with that. Let's hope
it's going to be his hire. You know, I mean, that's a fact.
On paper, yes.
He's the one. Yeah, he hired him, you know.
He did hire him.
Yeah.
I love that. Speaking of football, everybody keeps asking who's the offensive coordinator going to be? Who's the offensive guys? The OC is already on the staff. His name is Rich Rodriguez, okay?
Yeah, let's be real.
Boom. Done. That's done. That's our offensive coordinator.
The ones who say that, that his son shouldn't be the quarterback's coach, or Trickett, coming in to be whatever position Trickett is, and he's hiring his guys. These are the guys that's been there for him. And, Rhett Rodriguez, Rich's son, we can complain. I believe, I think Pat White should be on this staff as somewhere. I just believe that. I'm living in the past, whatever. But with Rhett Rodriguez being the quarterback coach, he knows what his dad wants out of the quarterback position. He knows the offense. He knows what his dad is thinking standing over there. He's just a, position wise. And I don't care who you are. You want to get your boy in your program. Rhett definitely wants to coach. He definitely wants to coach, and you're not going to hinder him with that. But you know what, though? If mistakes are made out of the quarterback position, believe me, Rich is he knows he's making the corrections. Rhett's just his right hand with it. So,
well, and it's kind of the same as maybe not. I was going to say it's kind of the same as having Tucker DeVries on the floor for the basketball team. He's a coach's son, but he's kind of like a coach on the floor. He knows. I guess in that regard, it's similar. He knows what his dad's wanting out of a certain play that they're going to call coming down the court. He knows where people are supposed to be and what people are supposed to be doing. And I don't know, maybe that's not the best thing. It's just the first thing that came to mind. But I mean, I personally don't have any problem with it. I mean, the staff that Rich Rod's going to bring in could not possibly be any worse than some of the people Neil Brown brought with him.
No.
So, we're not losing anything.
No.
And I sincerely expect it to be better than last year anyway. Lanny, we were talking about some recruiting stuff here. Lay some of that out here, because I'll be honest with you guys, I've kind of completely I've shut the football part of my brain off, except for the national championship game tomorrow, which we'll talk about, and have turned on the basketball part of the brain. So you were telling me about some recruits we had.
Well, just the biggest thing is, I mean, he's filling the positions that are needed, and people are losing their minds right now because it's the backup from LSU offensive lineman that went to defensive line. It's the guy from small town junior college. Rich is going to plug in players with talent, and then he's going to teach them what he wants. You can't teach speed. You can't teach, that intangible that some of these guys have, or they just might have got overlooked, y'all. A simple fact.
You can't teach breaking face masks against the locker.
No. And
you can't teach that kind of crap.
You can't teach that grind, that hustle. And you know what? My thing is just let it play out, let it cook, and then judge later about it. Fair. And that's my thing, because it's like, do I want the kid that played that for Robert Morris as a wide receiver that had 19 catches for 137 yards? Not really. But the thing is, somebody saw something in him out of this staff. And, they're getting, I'm not saying the best that they can get, but you're going to see development in it. And that's the aspect of college football right now. It's almost one and done, because if you don't play a kid, they're going to transfer. If you do, and then if you don't pay them, they're out the door too. So, believe me, these kids are going to come in here and everywhere and try to bust their ass, because they're going to try to get that bag as much as they can filled up, And so that's my biggest thing is right now the offensive line left. I mean, we didn't even have an offensive line really. And he's plugging in offensive linemen. It seemed like we signed 16 defensive backs, cornerback, safeties type backfield area, because that's how bad we were. And now I guess a couple of them pulled their name back out of the portal. So they're staying now, So yeah. I'm really excited about some of the defensive ends and linebacker positions that we've signed. That's where he wants to have that aggressive, chase you down type of defense. And that's what I'm excited for. And that's what I want to see. I want to see boots to asses and run you down sideline to sideline. And when we dare your quarterback to look his opposite way, because he's going to get smoked from the backside. So that's what I think that's what we're going to see. Just aggressive. I would rather see a guy get beat being aggressive than just not be around him. So
yeah. I mean, that's fair. I don't think it's not like he's going out here and just picking people willy nilly and this guy will work. No, he's going to pick guys that he thinks going to fit what he wants to do. And I mean, I don't know. I got a buddy of mine that was really against the hire. I mean, really.
I have one.
Badly against the hire, and was given, running down on me about, well, he didn't accomplish anything after he left here. And, well, I said, well, what about the stuff at Arizona? Because even though the stuff to me at Arizona is not shining diamonds in the rough, you have to admit that Arizona's best stretch of football in most of their history was when Rich Rod was their coach.
Nobody wins in Arizona.
Rich Rod's the only one that has really won there. And even though he wasn't my first pick, you can't turn that down. And then he goes to Jackson State. I know I'm skipping over the Mississippi offensive coordinator thing. He goes to Jackson State as a head coach. And so I'm not going to say who, but a friend of mine has a cousin that played for Rich at Jackson State. And he transferred up here before they hired Rich. So if people can figure out who that is, fine. But he said he would go down to Jackson State to watch his games because they were close. And he said they don't have much as far as resources go down there. He said the one time I was down there one season, he said half the stadium was like shut down because they had some sort of structural issue that they couldn't fix before the game, and they didn't really have the money to fix it at the time. So you got to give some credit to somebody that goes to a school that has such small
resources,
small pocketbook and such
Yeah.
little resources, and turns around and does there what he did. Okay, so whether you're against it or not, you can't deny that. Aside from Michigan, he was successful at Arizona. He was successful at Jackson State. Hopefully, he'll be successful here. So, yeah, until I'm going to do the same thing I did with Neil Brown. When they hired Neil, the first year, man, I was all on board. I was on that train. Hey, because it looked good on paper. We all know that. I think we can all agree that Neil Brown looked good on paper when we hired him. Okay, we were all excited about that. I was there for it. I was willing to wait, see what happened, and let's see where it goes. And I'm going to be the same with Rich Rod. Whether or not he was my first pick or my favorite pick, irrelevant. He's here. He's the coach. We got to deal with it now. So that's that. But
I just think you're truly going to see the old school dogfight where players are earning their positions, and it's not just because they only have two at this spot. You know, he's bringing in competition, and even though even with like Nico, I think Nico can play. This Nico's not going to run at any point, take off on a 60-yard jaunt. But
come on, that's not fair. Sure, he will.
But I think Nico's he can run this offense very, very well. I believe it. I truly believe it. But you have to go get competition for him. And they went and got the guy from I think his name Henderson from
A&M, Jalen Henderson from A&M.
Yeah, from A&M.
Yeah.
That's direct competition. The kid,
right, it is.
He was injured. He was injured at A&M, and then he's young player, and he's direct competition. And now,
and what he accomplished at A&M before he got injured, he was doing well. He was winning games. He was doing well there before he got injured. So it's not like we picked up some scrub that isn't really good. I mean, he was the starter. He was doing good things until his injury. Sorry, but go ahead.
No, you're good. And what I like about it best too is now he's contacting some of the recruits that Chad Scott and Neil Brown and that group, and he's still talking to them. The Fox kid, the quarterback, Fox, and then also the other McCorley. They've already contacted him too, and just trying to let them know we're still interested. You like this, and let's not fall off. Don't drop us off your radar. But he's going to go out here and get his guys that fit his systems offensively and defensively, and let's just set it back and just watch. Just watch. And if you want to be an armchair quarterback, that's fine. And you can complain. Hell, I can. C-Ray can. All we want. It's not the
do it every week, baby.
Yeah. Yeah. And
I sit there every weekend and say, why you throw that pass? You're so stupid, as if I could sit there and do it myself.
and we're going to. Everybody's going to.
That's part of being a fan, man.
It is part of it.
My college level athletic days are quite far behind me at this point. But I'm well aware that,
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I'm well aware that I'm not going out there and throwing a pass in a D1 college football game better than, Green, really, at any point in my freaking 30s, okay? But that doesn't mean I'm not going to sit here and, complain about it. Hey, just random question.
Yep.
Has Neil Brown landed a job anywhere? Does anybody know?
From what I've heard here in Morgantown is he's waiting for school to end. No,
I know Christmas is over, but is he holding out for a management position?
But from what I've heard, he's just pretty much taking this year off. He's going to take 25 off, and
he's getting paid for it.
Yeah, that's it. And pretty much, he's going to take 25 off, and then just kind of sit and wait until because his kids are in school, and he don't want to move and do the thing during take his kids out of. There's only 4 more months of school, so and then kind of roll into. It wouldn't surprise me if he don't take some type of analyst position somewhere where he can roll in in spring ball, and be ready to move there with his family later on, or move his family there later. But that's what I think.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. I was just curious about it. We were talking about everything and kind of popped into my mind. I mean, listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'd love for my employer to tell me, listen, we don't want you. I'm gonna pay you a couple $1,000,000 a year to just go away.
Yeah.
I can do that for a couple years.
Yeah. I'm gonna pay you I'm gonna pay you double and a little bit of your salary to just
yeah.
and
Just to go
just
away.
then you just pull the one of the best lines ever at Ogeron. Tell me how much and tell me which door you want me to leave. Tell me what time and which door. I'll leave. I'll gladly get out of here.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe we should have hired him. We could use that kind of attitude. Oh man. Well, hey, let's roll into one more thing here. The national championship game, Notre Dame and Ohio State, Monday night, 7:30 on ESPN. Lane, I'm gonna be honest with you, dude. I really don't know who to pull for as like who do I want to win, because I hate them both so badly.
I'm exactly with you. I am. Yeah. This is probably one of the most things we will ever agree on. I wish this game could end in a 0-0. Both of them lose somehow.
Yeah. I guess looking at it purely from a college football fan standpoint, I like Ohio State to win. I think I just don't think Notre Dame is going to have a legitimate plan that's going to stop Will Howard and Jeremiah Smith. Not to say Notre Dame doesn't have a good defense, because they do. The defenses are pretty level anyway. I mean, Ohio State's gave up 12 points a game through 15 games, and Notre Dame's gave up 13-8, so like 14 points a game. So the defenses are right there with each other. But I think Ohio State's offense is just going to be much better than Notre Dame's. I don't think it's going to be a blowout of proportions of it, but I do think Ohio State's going to win by 10 or more, personally.
Buddy, I'm exactly with you. I think that Ohio State's offense versus Notre Dame's defense is better than Notre Dame's offense versus Ohio State's defense.
Absolutely.
That matchup, and I think it's going to be like a 34-20 ball game, Ohio State. I think Ohio State scores in the 30s, and I think Notre Dame musters to score into the 20 mark, 22, 24, 23, that range. And I think
see Ohio State putting in the 40s.
Yeah, I just think Ohio State wins by 2 touchdowns or more. I'm not saying they're going to win by 30. Yeah, I'm saying not complete blowout, but if you beat somebody by, 14, 17 points in the national championship game, that's a beating. That's a beating if you beat that team, Yeah. So, but that's my prediction. That's where my money's riding. So, I think the line. I think the line is 8. I think the line's Ohio State's given 8, and I'm wanting to say the over and under is like 52. So, yeah.
Interesting. Well, I think, I think this is one of the things that you and I definitely agree on.
Both teams suck.
Yes, we hate both teams very, very, very much. Yes. I will say I hope it's more of an exciting game than Notre Dame's last game was. Their semifinal game, I was bored. Just wasn't exciting to me. So that was, I think I turned. Well, no, I watched it, because wasn't that the game where the guy hit the game-winning field goal?
Notre Dame, Penn State.
Notre Dame won it. Huh?
It was Notre Dame, Penn State.
Yeah, the kid hit the game-winning field goal. Or am I thinking of the other game? Am I thinking Texas? I don't know. Never. Yeah. You know what? It's irrelevant at this point. I just know that the last Notre Dame game I watched, I was like, "Holy crap, this is boring." So, but it'll be the official into college football season. I'm already kind of fully engulfed in basketball anyway.
Yeah.
So more power to them.
I'm with you.
But
I am just I'm so glad that this snow hit. It did not hit during the Iowa State the fans getting to the game and getting, it hit Sunday morning. and which is now we're you know what I'm saying, maybe watching, we're recording this Sunday afternoon, but it's still yet it's one of them things where thank goodness. What did you think of the throwback unis?
I liked it. I really wish I could have gone. I do have plans to come up to a couple games. I got a buddy that's got some season tickets right behind the student section that I'm going to go to. One game, if you want to go with me, I'll hit you up, man. I wish I could have been there for that because I really would have liked to have been in the building for the Jerry and honoring Jerry and everything. I thought that would have been a real cool thing to see live because I was a student. I was a sophomore the year they retired Hot Rod Hundley's jersey. And I remember being in the student section and he did a hook shot at his freaking, old ass age and he made it. The place went freaking bonkers, dude. And it was yeah, man. And it was really cool to be there for that. Because in high school, my bread and butter was my hook shots and running hooks, jump hooks, all that shit, man. I'd be putting hooks up right and left. I loved it, dude. I mean, I was a fan of it. It's hard to block. It's hard to block a good hook shot. So I was glad to be a part of that. And I wish I could have been there for the Jerry stuff yesterday. But I thought the unis, you see some idiot on Twitter said WVU had to get jerseys that looked like Pitt just to beat Iowa State. And I'm like, you're trolling, right? Because you understand they're throwback unis.
You do got to understand
that
those unis came from 1957. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But I thought they were cool. I thought they were cool, and it was a cool thing to do.
Yeah.
I like that they got the 44 on the new gym, on the new floor.
Yeah.
They got the 44 by the West Virginia. I like that.
Also, the owner of the Clippers gave a $5 million endowment and to WVU, yes, and it's
that's cool.
Yeah, and part of that.
Man, I forgot he was with the Clippers for a while.
And I'm pretty sure anything that if any jersey sales, 44 sales, stuff like that, memorabilia at the team shop, a percentage of that goes to it too, to NIL and stuff, Yeah. So at least they're putting, I'm saying, a little bit of cash flow back into it, that it just wasn't a, I'm going to shove Jerry West down your throat and, make it a more of a spectacle thing, and they had the family back, and that's just awesome. I mean,
you know what? Something that has always just kind of blown my mind, that the guy that is the silhouette, the logo for the National Basketball Association, it's one of the most recognized logos in the world. Doesn't matter what country you go to, if any of them know the word basketball, they know what that logo looks like. And that guy is one of ours.
Yes.
From West Virginia, played at West Virginia.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I think that's just really cool that we have that. I don't know what else we have, but we have that.
Part of my man cave, I got all my West Virginia stuff all over the place, and my wife found it. I don't know exactly how she ordered it or whatever. Whenever, and I'm born and raised here in Morgantown but she's got it's not very big thing. It's just a piece of the flooring from the field house. And I used to go on there and hoop between classes and stuff like that, and also on the weekends, late at night, and just the smell of that place, you knew exactly where you were on campus when you walked into the old field house, but just the history to go along with it. But I got it sitting over there, and it's pretty cool. And I just sat back and look at it, but I'm like, and I know it's just a piece of wood, but it's one of those things where it's like, it wasn't just Jerry West and, the greats at WVU that played on that floor. The players of that time that also played on that floor against them, Oscar Robinson and just, some of the greats, but he's ours, and he will always be part of WVU. And I'm glad that they can look at it, 50 years later, or however the math adds up to it. But it's just, I'm glad that they did something to make it a little bit more, bring it to relevancy.
Sure.
So
absolutely. Well, ladies and gents, I think that's going to wrap it up for us on this episode. We appreciate all you guys, and you all know where to find us on the Twitters, on the Spotify's, the Apple Podcasts, and all that YouTube and everything else.
Yep.
We appreciate you guys out there. Listen, we don't have huge numbers. All you guys know we do this for fun, but we enjoy what we got. Yeah. And we want you guys to like, comment, let us know if there's something y'all want us to talk about. And hey, everybody have a good week. And listen, real quick. It's going to be cold this week, people. Me and Lanny, we work in the power industry. I'm what I do. We're both managers. We got employees that are out in this stuff. We've been out in this stuff when we were younger. You guys bundle up and stay safe this week. It is going to be nasty. It's going to be below zero some here in Charleston. I'm sure it is in Morgantown too. We want you guys out there to be safe. Think about what you're doing. And for God's sakes, be safe on the roads. Because my driveway, dude, I plowed it. It already froze over. I told my wife, I said, I hope you plan on working from home tomorrow because we're not coming off the mountain.
If you do not have to be on the roads, please do not be on the roads. So,
absolutely.
And, just, know your driving experience and be safe, be aware of your surroundings and what's going on in your vehicle. So,
it's like a safety stand down or something.
It is. But for real, if you listen this much, just be safe because we want y'all to be able to tune into us. So
yeah, and for God's sakes, if you follow us, please don't leave your house because we don't want to lose any followers.
Yeah.
But with that public PSA, you guys have a good week out there.
And we hope we kept you entertained from ear to ear. Let's go.